So this is what you might end up looking like, rolling with a sensitive and compassionate liberal. I'm just saying. Anyway, I was trying to find a filter with a straight jacket, but I couldn't. So I went with this one because I was literally physically hit and attacked by a compassionate, sensitive liberal who cares. She cares so much about the illegal immigrants that she's willing to hit someone she's known for 15 years. Okay? She didn't hit me in the face, she hit me right here. So I don't even know where to begin. No one's even gonna watch this video anyway, because I'm only like 35 videos in. This might be video 36. And according to Mr. Beast, no one even watches their videos until at least 100 videos in, and I'm like a ways off. And who knows if they'll even watch it then. Part of me doesn't even care. I'm just doing it as one of my creative projects. But anyway, I've been like distressed all week, okay? This is what I could expect rolling with my abusive, toxic ex-boyfriend, but not from one of the compassionate liberals who cares and is really sensitive and cares, right? Anyway, I'm just rambling. I was supposed to help a quote-unquote friend. I don't even know, man, because she just wrote me off, kicked me out and just wrote me off after one opinion difference. So who knows how really good of a friend they were. I'm just saying, okay? Known this person for at least 15 years, at least, okay? I was supposed to help them. They're having a surgery coming up that was going to make them very immobile. They're like a lot older than me, right? They're a boomer, right? And so I was supposed to like water the plants, feed the cats, do the dishes, like a little bit of tidying up because they were going to be really immobile. So I went over their house to just get oriented before the surgery, just to know where things were so I can come in, just do shit, you know, when the time came that she needed my help, right? And she was going to like pay me and stuff, you know. And so I get there and we just have small chat and kind of like, how you doing? How things been? Blah, 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 whatever. And I was like, things are fine. How things been with you? What, you know? And then she started kind of going on about, like all the crazy stuff going down in Minnesota between ICE and protesters, right? And she was, and again, she was like, and Trump's Hitler and freaking ICE is his Gestapo wing and all this stuff. Like, she's in a different algorithmic bubble. And then she started talking about, like, there's all these concentration camps they're keeping, and they're just kidnapping random people off the street, and there's little kids and everything. And I mean, I have heard that, like, parents are running, like, certain immigrants are running and leaving their kids behind. I've heard that. Like, I mean, I don't know what algorithmic bubble she's in, but it's different than mine. And I do intentionally try to look at all different sides and all different viewpoints. You know, like I listen to right wing, I listen to left wing, like content. And the one thing that I've seen by looking at all the, I tend to innately try to follow as many moderate content creators as I can, but everyone's got some sort of bias, right? But I wasn't seeing all this stuff about concentration camps. You know, I did hear about certain immigrants running and then the ICE having to take the kid because what do you do? Just leave a kid on the street when the parents have just bailed, you know? So I don't, but they're just like, oh, they're kidnapping people just randomly off the street. I mean, there's algorithmic bubbles that are telling people this, and obviously the people in Minnesota, that must be what they're seeing because they're thinking that ICE is Gestapo, and like there's a whole view about that. But depending on which algorithmic bubble you're viewing, you're getting different content, right? So I don't know if all of that's true. From some people I hear that's not true. That's not what's going. Like, detention centers are different than concentration camps. You know what I'm saying? But they're equating it as to literally like Nazi Hitler Germany right now, and so they're hysterical. And I attempted to bring nuance into the conversation. Didn't work, because apparently this was the first time that I've personally encountered Trump derangement syndrome. But apparently it exists. But anyway, I said I don't think it's wise to aggressively go attack federal or law enforcement, whether they're federal or local. I live in a big sprawling urban area, and the cops here are aggressive, like just to everyone, like just even with like rolling stops or like speeding tickets. I mean, they're aggressive, even the local cops, let alone if you're messing with these federal officers. And also too, I was aware that to try to meet the demand, they're hiring just tons and tons, much more ICE officers, and they're not vetting them properly, perhaps not training them properly. So you have a situation where you've got these aggressive, hostile civilians coming at these ICE and attacking them, calling these horrible people, just because I feel like they take out their hatred of Trump onto the ICE officers. When ICE officers are just executing a federal command to extract certain, illegal immigrants. I don't know how they're doing it, and obviously, how they're doing it needs some reformation, because ICE has been implemented in previous administrations, and there wasn't all this crazy ass drama and shit. So, I will give my friend that, like, it doesn't have to be so aggressive. I don't even know, but at the same time, the thing is, she went ballistic on me for saying that, for saying don't aggressively come at any law enforcement officer. So in her mind, I instantly became a Nazi sympathizer. Okay, and then she started hitting me, like, get out, get out. She was like hitting me here, like, get out, like screaming. And I was like, you're not acting like a compassionate, sensitive liberal right now. And then that made her even more angry. And she's like, like, and then she like kicks me out, slams the door on me. And I'm like, you hypocrite. You can't even, and I said, you're part of the problem. You can't even discuss anything with you people without freaking you going histrionic, ballistic. You can't even have a nuanced conversation. And I was like totally shocked, because all of a sudden she's like, I don't want your help. Get out. This isn't going to work. You can't help me. Blah, blah, blah. Like, she literally just, her whole, known her for 15 years, her whole perception just went like bleep, and all of a sudden I became a Nazi sympathizer in her eyes, just because I tried to insert common sense, and again, she was an entitled liberal white woman, because those are the only ones that think that they can just aggressively attack law enforcement officers and get away with it. That's why if you do see any African American people out there, it's a tiny sprinkling. It's all these white entitled liberals that even think that they can get away with this shit, because historically speaking, especially because I'm half African American, I know what it's like for, historically speaking, the African Americans, in my family and in the community, to go aggressively after law enforcement. Only someone who never has been profiled by law enforcement would ever even think that that's something you should do. Because sometimes you could just be a black person walking down the street and you get profiled. You're not even doing anything. I'm just saying, okay? I feel like her perspective was clearly coming from entitlement, right? I'm sorry. Because and that's another thing. I grew up in these blue zones historically, because my parents were mixed race and they tended to navigate historically to blue areas, because those areas used to be more tolerant. I'm just saying, okay? And they were more tolerant of interracial relationships. But I've seen these kind of like liberals that are hypocritical, like my whole life. Like, I remember I had a girlfriend who was upper middle class. Her mom was like this, again, entitled white woman who had no clue what it's like at all, like to be a person of color and profiled. I'm just saying. And she had this really expensive like Jeep with all these bumper stickers all over it, like save Nicaragua, save this, save that, you know. And she lived like next door to my dad, and she literally called the cops on my dad just for walking through his own yard. My dad's African American. She just called the cops on him for walking through his own yard. But she's got save this, save that, you know. I mean, I've just seen the hypocrisy of a lot of this, I don't know, and throughout my life, and I'm black. I'm considered black, you know, because there's some arbitrary law. Even though I have to live with half my drunken Scottish white family and deal with their shit, but I'm considered black. Whatever, okay? I don't care. But I've been called nigger. I've been called honky. I've been called cracker. My family's been called cracker. I've had my friends called the horrible word, like things. I've been called all of it. I'm just saying. Oreo, like my hair is curly. They're like, I've been called pubic hair head, hairy, scary. I've had the whole gamut of everything, right? So like, I've seen the hypocrisy on both sides, but I was like totally shocked. I'm like, what the fuck? This is like, and now this person, she cares more about illegal immigrants she doesn't even know. Okay, she doesn't even know them personally than she does someone she's known 15 years. Like, I've seen that a lot too. Like, I'm serious. My sister is somewhat histrionic, because I feel like the farther left you go, the more histrionic you get. There's probably some sort of histrionic scale that, like, the farther left you go, you start getting really histrionic or something. It's just like, I don't know, they start getting their voices start squeaking and they get crazy. I mean, same thing with the farther right you go. Anytime you go the farther extreme right or left, histrionic starts getting involved, because the people start getting, sometimes I think when you go to these extremes, it's indicative, whether left or right, it's usually indicative of some sort of mental health problem, which is what draws you to these extremes. And I'm just saying, okay? And my sister was all like, and this was in regards to trans, you know, because my brother has a trans friend that transitioned later, like he was an adult when he transitioned, but apparently he got his bottom surgery. That's what I heard. I don't know. I can't know for a fact because I don't know. I just have acquaintances with them and seen them occasionally before they had transitioned, right? I haven't really engaged with them since their transition, but looks like a dude still. But my sister said they got bottom surgery, so I don't know. To me, I thought that was wild, because I was like, if you're gonna cut your dick off but you still look like a dude, I told my sister, I was like, I think he has mental health problems. That's what I said, because I was just like, that doesn't even make sense. Because this person makes so much money. They're a coder, a special effects coder, and they make bank. This person could literally go to Korea and look like the hottest woman ever on the planet, but still just chooses to want to look like a man, but apparently they got bottom surgery. So I'm like, whoa, that's wild. And I stated my opinion. I thought I could state my opinion to my sister, right? And I said to my sister, I think men who think they're women and biological women are two different things. That's what I said to her. So, and she's like, oh my God, so-and-so, so nice. I didn't say that this person wasn't nice. And my sister's all of a sudden like, she's like, if my daughter, my niece, ever thinks she's a boy, I'm not going to have you around the family. All because I said that. All because I said I thought this person had mental health problems, and that a man who thinks they're a woman and a biological woman are two different things. I didn't think that was all that heretical, but my sister was literally willing to cut me out of her family because I said that. And the thing that's so wild about it is that I literally had to watch my niece change her Halloween costume at least 10 times in the past week, because this was in autumn, close to Halloween. And she's thinking, if my niece all of a sudden thinks she's a boy, that she's gonna, I've seen this kind of stuff with like fellow liberals, man. Like even as a freaking liberal myself, I've been literally attacked by freaking liberals further on the spectrum, right? And there was another time that I was at a bar and I was like, I said in a conversation, I'm realizing you can't just state your own opinion anymore because you're going to end up looking like this if you do from anybody, liberals and freaking Republicans. I'm just saying there's no guarantee these sensitive, compassionate liberals won't freaking attack you. But anyway, I was at the bar and I was like, I said I don't think biological men should play in sports because they have just a physical dominance innately, whether they like it or not, because it starts in utero, right? The hormones don't mitigate like the biological impact, that the male physiology has over females. That's why they usually end up slaughtering, in sports, in competition, the female competitors, because, and she's like, yeah, and then this lady, a biological woman too, she just starts screaming at me, you TERF, like the spittle, TERF, you fucking TERF. And I'm like, oh my God, people are going batshit crazy. That's why I was like disappointed I couldn't find a filter with a straitjacket, because I feel like I'm in the mofo loony bin. Mofo's attacking me. I'm like a fucking liberal, dude, and liberals are fucking attacking my ass, One time, my mom is a stone cold Trumper thumper. She got aggressive with me one time because I voted for Obama, right? So I've had it from both sides, okay? I'm not even gonna listen to this mofo video, but I'm just like, I'm still like dazed and motherfucking confused that I had a friend that I've known for 15 years literally start hitting me. And here's the hypocrisy of it. She can't even regulate herself in a mofo conversation, okay? Yet she has the nerve to vilify ICE when they're out on the streets with crowds of people attacking them, okay? I'm just saying, like, she's a total hypocrite. She resorted to violence, but she has the nerve to fucking, like, judge, And a lot of times, like I said, like I do, again, like I said, I try to lean towards nuance. I do know that this administration is they're having issues with their enforcement of ICE, right? Other administrations, even the Obama administration, used ICE aggressively, and they didn't have all this crazy ass drama on the streets. I'm just saying, okay? So obviously there's reform and that needs to be made and how they're implementing it. But the thing is like there's certain algorithmic bubbles that are telling people Trump is Hitler, ISIS is Gestapo, there's concentration camps, and they're just getting all crazed and hysterical. I follow both left and right podcasters. I'm not seeing this in my algorithmic bubble, okay? So I'm not condoning any kind of mistakes ICE has made. I wasn't condoning ICE for killing these people, okay? And but obviously, like, it takes two to tango. If you start aggressively fucking with federal officers or law enforcement officers, like, dude, you're putting yourself at risk. Because, I mean, I've encountered as a motherfucking soccer mom doing rolling red light stops the aggressiveness of even local law enforcement. I'm just saying, okay, let alone if you're dealing with these federal people that perhaps are not being vetted, they're not being trained properly to deal with civilian hostility. I'm just saying, okay, I don't know. I don't know the full picture, and either does she. Whether she likes to think, neither one of us does. That's the truth. We don't know. And hitting each other isn't going to solve the problem. Okay, her hitting me, what does that do? And her vilifying me and lumping me in the category of a Nazi sympathizer now. Like, just because I had a different opinion than her on this topic, what is that? Is that going to solve the problem? And I just feel like none of us are getting a full picture. Like, there's so much manipulation going on. There's so many. different agendas. Like because I look at both different sides of things, and each side is showing a different camera perspective of some of the events dropping off in Minnesota. Each side is convinced the other side is manipulating the media. Each side thinks that, you know, that one is right or the other is right. I'm just saying, like, and probably the truth is that both sides made mistakes. Okay, both sides didn't handle the situation properly. I'm just saying, okay. But no one can accommodate nuance anymore. No one can discuss anything anymore in a nuanced conversation. They just write people off they've known for years. Like my sister was willing to write me off just because I clearly thought that this person had mental health problems. You know, because my brother's friend who's trans, and that I thought men who think they're women and biological women are two different things. They are two different things. I don't care how much you... And the irony is that I follow a lot of quite a few trans influencers, right? I do follow Blair White because I feel like she has a lot of common sense. And I follow Marcus Dibbs, and I follow Buck Angel, because like those are like, even though they're like, I mean, Buck Angel's probably older than me, but Blair White's younger, whatever, but I feel like I relate to them because they have old school liberal, like they remind me of old school, even though they might be younger or older, whatever, they have like what I'm familiar with old school liberal being, you know, and so I can relate to what they're saying, right? But the irony is that they know and admit that they have a mental disorder, okay, and that what their biological sex is. But the irony is that they really convincingly look like the opposite sex. Like if they hadn't told you they were ever trans, you would never even know. They literally look like the opposite sex, right? So the irony is that a lot of the trans people that knowingly know and admit that they have a mental disorder, and this is how they're managing it in order to feel more comfortable in their own skin, look convincingly. I mean, Blair White looks more feminine than I do. I'm a biological female. She looks like a 90s porn star or some shit. She looks hot as hell. Like, what? She looks like... I'm just saying, okay? And Buck Angel looks like a total dude. Like, and so does Marcus Dibbs. And they know, but all the people that are walking around with hairy breasts, like boobs and hairy breasts and beards with lipstick, calling themselves trans, or like people that clearly look like men, but calling themselves trans women, like that. They don't look like. Obviously, they can't be dysmorphic. There must not be dysmorphic trans because, and like also, I don't think my brother's friend who's trans is dysmorphic because he looks like a dude. He looks like a dude with pigtails and wears like clothes that don't even look feminine. It doesn't even make sense. Like, but apparently they got bottom surgery. That's what I heard. Who knows? I don't know for 100% on that. But to me, that would clearly indicate mental health thing going on because like you're not even dysmorphic and they make so much money they could effortlessly look like the hottest female ever. I'm just saying. It's like, so to say that is like some kind of horrible, cruel thing, you know, heretical. And that's the thing. Here's another thing on this rant, which I don't even know how long. No one's even gonna watch this video anyway. But I feel like it's the Democrats and the liberals, like my friend, who just shuts down all conversation. I feel like they contributed, and they get histrionical and ballistic, you know, and then they gaslight you. If you don't agree with them, they just call you a transphobe or a racist or a Nazi sympathizer or whatever the fuck they think, right? Just shut down all conversation. They're the ones that got Trump in office. They don't realize that they contributed to getting Trump in office because you can't talk to people. They talked in the fucking voting booth. That's what the fuck happened, okay? And they need to realize they're pissed off that Trump got in, but they helped him get in because they can't handle nuance, they can't handle conversation, they just shut it down. And it's like, I don't know, I just think they're just so righteous and indignant and just think they're just, and even as a fellow fucking Democrat, I can't even talk to like some people in my own party, and I'm like, oh my God, like, and here's the thing, I don't tend to kowtow to party lines. I have different opinions about different topics because I like to think I have freedom of thought, I feel like a lot of people on the left are acting like the very fascists they hate. And there's another clip I'm talking like where another content creator that I relate to, she's old school lesbian, she's considered right now, but she's not really. She's old school liberal. That's how liberals used to be, but now she's considered right. I'm just saying, okay? So I follow, I'm not subscribed on this, subscribed on my YouTube on TV, but I do subscribe to this content creator, Ariella Scarcella, because I like Ariella Scarcella, even though she's younger than me. She reminds me of like, because I'm not gay myself, but a lot of my BFFs, like growing up, were gay dudes. And I was in that scene like a lot because my best friends were gay dudes, and so like I was like hanging on like lesbians and like gay dudes and the small percentage of actual dysmorphic trans, because that's the only trans people that I used to be exposed to. It's like that you would never even know that, literally never even know that they were trans unless someone told you. But I feel like now trans has become like trendy or something. I don't know. Or trans has been associated with like activism, but it's not just being trans just because you're trans, like because you have dysmorphia. Like now it's like trans is activism or something. I don't even know. It's like a totally different beast now. But she reminds me of the old school lesbians that I grew up with. Like, even though she's younger, it's just like, anyway, but she's pointing out how the extreme leftists have become the very fascists that they vilify in this video, which I thought was very poignant. And she's making a clear point that if you don't let people speak openly about their opinions and you just cancel them, vilify them, like you're acting like you're doing the very thing that you accuse someone like Trump doing, and like two wrongs don't make a right.
Has no fascist ideologies. What is the definition of fascism?
Something about like where you're putting other people down for your own gain.
No. Not quite.
You guys are all students here, right?
Yes.
What are you studying?
Sustainability for pre-policy.
What about you? What are you studying?
Crime science.
English.
Oh, that's a good one. We need people that can speak English because people can't even spell learning correctly in this country anymore. Are you pro silencing hateful voices? Racism and hatred online. Are you pro silencing those voices? Let the black person speak?
Yes.
Depends.
You can say free Palestine and people will say that's hateful. You can say fuck ICE and that's hateful. You can say many things and people are labeling things hateful that are not necessarily hateful.
You'd have to define hateful, right? And that's tricky.
I think that many things that conservatives believe are from a perspective that is not educated, that is kind of just hand-fed.
I think the same way about a lot of the leftists.
Yeah, anyone can be hand-fed ideology. So
that's correct. We were just at the Pride Parade 2 days ago, and a girl, not even a girl, what was that? A non-binary furry?
Oh, I don't like your content. I'm sorry.
Why don't you like my content? And I'm using my First Amendment, right?
You're instigating.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly just asking questions, and I understand asking questions is instigating.
Wow.
The way you ask them, the way you frame them, yes,
That's
it's
a fascist
instigating.
ideology right there.
She called me a fascist. Do you think that I'm a fascist because I support President Trump? I don't believe everything he does. Do you think that I'm a fascist for that reason?
Donald Trump is a fascist.
He's a fascist.
How?
Everything about him.
Just name one.
Just live in your own little world, and that's so crazy to me.
How is he a fascist?
because of the unprecedented power that he's deciding is his right to use.
How is Trump a fascist?
He's putting people in detention centers who did nothing wrong. There's children in there which shouldn't be there.
He's racist, which is confirmed.
Where?
In the, all those places, I can't name one because I don't look into it directly.
Right. Okay.
But I do know that they've been putting children in there.
So you don't know directly because you don't look into it, but you're talking about it.
What content of mine have you seen?
Bad ones.
Bad ones. Okay. No, that's okay. He's allowed to think that.
So I let people be who they want to be, you know?
Okay. I mean, I'm letting you be who you want to be. You felt uncomfortable letting me be who I wanted to be. She voted for him. She loves Trump. She likes Trump more than I do, actually, and she's black.
Well, you're just doing tokenism right here.
No, I'm just saying. I don't think he could be racist if he has black supporters. I think if he was actually racist, like an actual racist, I don't know.
Well, what rights have you lost? I mean, we're out here at a gay pride event in a red state. I mean, a fascist would not allow that if he was really homophobic. I mean, we're in one of the most conservative states in the country, and you get to walk around being gay, wearing your, BDSM stuff.
The pride event obviously was very blue. The only person that got shit at that event was me. I got kicked out of the event last year, and what is that?
And I can see why.
How is that diversity?
How I'm doing is,
existing.
I'm existing as a human being, and I'm using my First Amendment right.
You're instigating.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly just asking questions, and I understand asking questions is instigating.
Wow.
The way you ask them, the way you frame them, yes,
That's
it's
a fascist
instigating.
ideology right there. That thinking about if asking questions, if we can't even ask questions in a free country, that's a fascist ideology.
I believe trans women are the reason that we have a lot of freedoms as queer people in our country. Marsha P. Johnson, and I don't think subjecting them to just genitalia, things that reduce them to certain body parts, is conducive to any conversation regarding their liberation and their access to resources.
Did you know Marsha P. Johnson was in fact a drag queen?
She was a woman.
She was a drag queen. I mean, she said it.
A woman.
They didn't think I was, I would tell them I was a boy and I was in drag. And I would tell them that I would go like hustling.
Oh, there's supposed to be an educated dialogue between people, so I think that silencing it violates your constitutional right.
Correct.
It's definitely around here, and I don't like it at all.
No, you don't have to like it. That's the thing about being in a free country is you don't have to like her, but you don't get to, call her these horrible names. I mean, you can legally with your free speech, but you don't get to say things like she's a fascist when she has no fascist ideologies.
Yeah. If you're gonna call me something, at least be what's up. At least be accurate in what you're framing me as.
Yeah, you can't just name everything as fascist. What is the definition of fascism?
Something about where you're putting other people down for your own gain.
No.
Not quite.
And that's okay. That's okay. But like I said, we should be...
It's a far-right authoritarian worldview, okay? So my way goes, your way doesn't. And if you decide to go your own way, I'm going to destroy you in every physical way possible.
I pretty much summarized it as that.
Do you think that Ariel does that?
Oh, for sure.
You think she would destroy you in every physical way possible?
If she had the choice and if there was no laws, probably.
She has the choice. She can do it.
Okay.
But she's not gonna. I can promise you that.
Okay.
There's certain rhetoric that is freedom of speech or opinion, but it can be harmful. Some people have a lot more influence than others.
Okay. What about Tim Walz recently, who said that we're living in the times of Anne Frank?
That is definitely a crazy saying, a little bit crazy saying. I don't think it's right to necessarily say that. That's a bit of a reach, but I do say that times now are a bit different.
Because you cannot put an answer. One person, cannot give an answer for an entire demographic.
Right. You're speaking for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're also speaking for yourself and calling him a racist, and you're speaking as if that's a universal truth.
Yeah, and we'd like an example of his racism, because, I mean, do you have to look it up?
Okay, well, it's 1:30 and I actually have to go.
A lot of people on the campus are saying that they're pro suppression of free speech. You guys apparently are not, which I'm happy that he's free to say that he doesn't like my content.
I mean, she's just here having conversations. That's what we're doing. We're trying to see where you guys are coming from and also trying to educate you as to where we're coming from. I don't see anything fascist about that. In fact, that's the opposite of fascism. That's opening the floor for discussion, and telling us that we're fascist simply just for being here and being Trump supporters is as far away from the truth as it could be.
it wouldn't be good to like separate people just based off like how they feel, even though whether you agree with it or not, it just wouldn't be right. Everybody's human. Everybody has a right.
Why are the guys always the based ones and the white liberals? The white women are always the ones that are like, we hate all the people that are hateful and blah, 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 blah. 10 years ago, I would walk into gay pride and everyone loved me. And now I walk into gay pride and of course there's a lot of people that love me still. And then there's people like yourself who have a completely different ideology, which again, I'm fine with. And I think you should be able to speak your mind and your beliefs. But I also don't think you shouldn't be allowed here. Like, it's the complete opposite of fascism. Like, they try to cancel me like 100 times, like at this point, just for being like for leaning more conservative in some, in certain circumstances. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because we went to Pride the other day and the girl's calling us fascists, and she couldn't define the word fascism. I want people with opposing views to debate me, to talk about things, so we can understand each other better. Where people from your camp, so to speak, not you in general, but like you as a people, people on the left don't feel that way. And I think that's a big problem.
Well, I didn't say I was leftist.
No, I said, that's why I did it in quotes, because I don't know for sure. I'm just saying people in that camp tend to be that way, right? Well, I mean, you're not a Trump supporter, so how do you identify in the middle?
I identify with whoever is good to the people.
Okay. That's a good answer. And I agree with you with that. But the problem is, I think everybody has different ideas of what being good to the people are, right?
Oh, for sure. I see that right here.
Yes.
I do believe that there are certain people who, these opinions shouldn't be voiced in the sense that they do harm people, and I don't think people understand that harmful opinions do still hurt people. I think if people are allowed to think whatever they want, but if it's something that is going to affect others in a harmful way, they should keep it to themselves. I don't know about silencing, but
well, who would get to be the one that would decide what is harmful or not?
Right, that's the problem.
That's the tricky part, right?
That's the tricky part, is that things can be harmful to different people. Like I can say I don't like bananas, and that may hurt your opinion.
I'm a lesbian. That triggers me. It's phallus shaped.
Exactly. So I really couldn't tell you, to be honest, without being hypocritical.
Do you think that people on this campus and in general
That's why I like Ariela's content, because she calls out the hypocrisy of the left, literally dictating. Like, my friend dictated by kicking me out. She dictated what she wanted to engage with, and that's not how the world works, and she just shut down all conversation, didn't want to discuss it, and that's a problem. Sorry, this is getting tweaked really loud. And the logic doesn't line up. The left is literally just, I didn't, like I said, I didn't vote for Trump. I don't have Trump derangement syndrome though. And I could recognize there's some things that he's doing that I actually think are good, even though I still think he's a sociopathic narcissist. But it's not like the left doesn't have a shit ton of sociopathic, performative narcissists. We have just as many, I'm just saying, and I don't hate Trumper thumpers. I don't hate my mom. My mom's a stone cold Trumper thumper. She used to be a Democrat. I'm just saying people change. So to vilify a whole person based on an opinion that changes is foolish to me. Look at Elon. He used to be a Democrat 2 minutes ago. All of a sudden, he was hardcore MAGA, skippity doodah on the MAGA stage and all this, people's opinions change. So too, and I consider myself an old school liberal, but now that perspective is considered farther right, because the whole political milieu around it has changed so much that, so, it's everything's relative, subjective, and people have their own opinions, and who's to say which one's right, which one's wrong. And some people have incendiary views that you don't agree with, but that's what freedom of speech looks like, and it's, to censor people, even if you disagree with them, everyone's got all these different opinions and individual truths. Has the sky fallen? It hasn't, you know. But she's making a point that these people don't let you be just who you are with your own opinion. And that could be anyone on the left or the right, you know, but like to vilify a whole person, like I just don't do that, because I just know, I know people that are stone cold Trumper thumpers. My mom's not the only one. I've had friends who voted for Trump, you know. I have Jewish friends that voted for Trump, black friends that voted for Trump. I've got, my mom voted for Trump. I've got histrionic left-wingers too that will, you know, get hysterical around Trump, you know. I've got the whole spectrum, so I'm not going to go and we're wondering why we're having this like epidemic of isolation and all this kind of stuff, because people can't just have their own opinion. I mean, I grew up with people that I deeply loved and cherished, and they were Republican. Like, I didn't care they were Republican. I mean, I don't know, people just going batshit crazy, but it's like crazy now that I feel like I relate more to moderate Republicans. I don't relate to the extreme right wing either, right? But I relate more now to moderate Republicans than I do the left on my own party. You know, I don't know, I'm just saying. Because they'll just vilify you, shut you down, just like they say the fascists do, just like they say Trump's doing. And they say all this stuff, they're getting content from their algorithmic bubbles, because we're each in our bubble, whether we realize or like it or not. And they just project what they're seeing onto people around them and just blanketing them as all good or all bad, which is not the truth about anyone, really. And they're literally doing what fascist regimes do. It's just shutting down all conversation and just cutting people off and just vilifying them. You know, they can't rag on Trump when they're doing the same thing that they say that he's doing. That doesn't even make sense. So I thought this video was very poignant and really pointing out to the issue we're having collectively in not being able to openly discuss topics that are affecting all of us, and just shutting down conversation, just blanketing someone as all good or all bad because of a topic, a belief that they're having about a particular topic, right? And just I feel like just labeling vilifying people for their opinion is a form of manipulation and gaslighting, so that your opinion can be right. And it doesn't really change other people's opinions, vilifying people. I mean, and shutting them down. You know, if anything, it just solidifies their opinion. If anything, it's like less persuasive. If you're trying to convince someone if you just shut down all conversation and just label them as good or bad, right? And that's the thing, my friend attacked me physically. She wasn't willing to hear me out at all. Just shut it down, started hitting me, kicking me out, literally acting like a violent person, you know, who just can't handle any other opinion other than her own, right? That's what fascists do. They you know, if they have a lot of political power, they can they commit genocide to people with different views, religious views, political views, or whatever. I mean, look what's happening in certain parts of the Middle East, right? Because people have different views than what the regime wants, right? And I think leftists, it's like hypocritical when they do this, you know, and they need to be aware of this so that they can, and it's like, the thing is, it's like people's opinions change. That means we aren't our opinions. You know, like I'm not even mad at my friend who hit me, because I know she's in some sort of algorithmic bubble that's making her insane. You know, we have to be aware of all these like mind viruses running buck wild, all these agendas. People are trying to meet these agendas and all this kind of stuff to strengthen their view and all this, but we have to be aware of this. There's a lot of AI manipulation now. There's so many viral clips that are just AI, that are just like rage bait and stuff. We need to be aware of all this. You know, I tried to tell her that too. She didn't want to hear it. She doesn't even, none of us know we have to give everything see everything, with a grain of salt, because everything's being, manipulated now, and we have to just, I feel like I like people with different opinions. I don't care. I can talk to my mom. She's a stone cold Trumper thumper. And I can talk to her. I can talk to her. But she was mad at me when I was all into Obama and everything. She acted aggressively towards me. But it's up to the individual people to give space for other people's opinions and not attack them or think that they're this horrible. Because I've met too many people that are really nice, good-hearted people that are Trumpers, People just think all Trumpers are just horrible. If they think he's a racist, they must be racist. I used to lean in that category myself until I intentionally got out of my bubble, But I'm really intentionally getting out of my bubble made me realize that there's a whole bunch of different bubbles you can hop to, one bubble to the next. I'm just saying, and each bubble has their own view, People are creating their own bubbles depending on which content they're clicking, and it's just, everything's relative, subjective, changing, and I don't know. I just feel like my friend just shut me down, cut me out. I've known her for 15 years. Now she thinks I'm a Nazi sympathizer, and then she was mad at me for having this opinion. Say my opinion is totally wrong, because her opinion's right, because everyone thinks they're right. She's right. Say she's right, okay? She's getting the right content, okay? Her view's the right one, right? Say it is. But why are you vilifying me for the content that I'm getting? I might not be getting the right content, right? But she wants to vilify me and attack me for that content. I could be ignorant. You know what I'm saying? But to hit me and to freaking just shut me out and cut me off, it's just so hypocritical, dude. Oh my God. But anyway, I don't know. I just really feel like the left needs to look at that, because no one's going to vote for your ass ever again if you fucking act like this, keep acting like this. You're not acting any better than you're saying Trump is acting. You're not.